All right, these are all the ace formations, what I would call either 11 or 10 personnel out of 2x2 sets, whether they motion out of trips or they line up pre snap. This is true ace right here. If we just called ace formation, this is how you would be lined up. They do have a tight end in the formation, and Urosic down here is the number 2 receiver on the near side to us. And I believe up front they have made a Roger call because I see them working this way, which should put these two on an island backside, and then your F back would definitely take care of anything that shows. So he's kind of got this responsibility or this responsibility, and whoever the F back takes, the quarterback has to make him right and make sure that he throws off the other one. They don't really do a good job of this. Dylan doesn't pass off to the center very well, which causes a little bit of stress, but they still hold up on pass pro pretty well. Out of this formation, what you're going to get is sort of a delay whip route. You're going to run when you have off man in safety positions to your number 2 receiver. You typically play games instead of running sluggo the other way, where this guy would be on the vert and this guy runs the slant underneath. What we do here is we have Humphreys is going to push into the safety to kind of create a natural barrier. He's going to delay behind that and run the slant, and we get the completion to it. Now, these two guys on the backside have to run verts, post something to clear these two guys and to gain depth by this free safety. So I would assume he's going to push and eventually run the post to occupy him, and he should be on the go to occupy him, and that should open up because, like I said, you're trying to hit it around this mic and obviously inside to this push here. So not a bad play call here by Coach Bobo, and not necessarily executed up front very well, but good throw and catch on the slant here, and Dominic Lovett makes a positive gain out of this. Right, in this formation, they start in Lucky, but they're going to motion 2x2 ace. And honestly, I don't mind the quick screen game. I told you that they were going to run the quick screen game. This is just rabbit out of ace set. They don't bring linemen out on this situation, so this is not considered a jailbreak screen. So basically, it's just one-on-one. It's just kind of an extension of the run game. But because they're triggering and they do play a lot of cover one, obviously he's moving and they're exchanging, just like I showed you in previous film. He's going to replace. He's reading what Lucky's doing. As Lucky comes across, he sees that he's going to block him, so he fits off of that because now his block frees him up. So he's got to attack and keep outside leverage free. This safety and this corner do a good job of attacking this. The only thing that I would say different out of this situation for me, if we're going to run this, because eventually what you like to do off this, like I told you, you have to run the quick screen to eventually set this up on Fox where you look like you're blocking, and you will off of this because of aggressive play downhill, and all of a sudden you've got Lucky on that wheel route right there, which we never ran out of this. Secondly, the one thing that I wish we would do is honestly run it to the left side, run it to the wide side of the field, and give a chance, even though I know that's a long throw, is you push the safety to make him gain depth or whoever's got him in man-to-man, and then you run out and seal off of this, and you actually come down heel and come back and catch the football just to look like there's a little bit of a push, okay? I see him running off and coming back never, all right? It's always just stutter feet, catch the football, and get upfield. But even with that long throw, and I know you got guys getting here, if you get that one guy set up on the wall, I think, look at all this space that you have out here to work on this. And I get it. You think, okay, 2 for 2 versus 3 over 2, but you got more field to work with here. So especially if you bring this guy across and this guy moves and they're going to replace here, now all of a sudden that looks a little bit better. I know we got a lot of lines drawn for hypotheticals, but I still would love to see that run to this side or be able to fox off of that eventually, which never was run. You can see how you would fox off of this. You can see him stepping back on rabbit, him going out to block. He's fitting just like off of a crack block. And he's going to outside leverage and come up and make the tackle. But you can see he stutter, and then he goes off that. You pump fake that and throw because of this aggressive safety. But again, I don't know why we never came back to this. But you have to run this play, which is still about a 2 to 3 yard play. It's still a 2 to 3 yard play, just like a run play to set up the Fox later. All right, this is the play that you wish we all as UGA fans would love to have back. This is the play where I think we should have took a knee, and we didn't do it. We decided because we had the possession with 40 seconds, we might be able to get into field goal range. I understand that, but in a game where you're trying to keep casualties to a minimum, to me, you can't put yourself in a bad situation, especially when you're in minus territory with a quarterback who's really been somewhat iffy so far. I mean, he's had a pretty good first half considering the circumstances, but we just turned a really bad situation into a catastrophe because of this play. But again, if my aunt had balls, should be my uncle. It's very simple to blindside this and hindsight it, because everything in hindsight is 2020. What you got out of this is going to be a go route. I think we're going to be able to sit down an option. He's going to try to work back down inside because Gunner seems to be looking to the short side of the field the entire time. We're going to get a push off to the inside of the numbers. I think he's running an intermediate out off of this, and then we got a smash concept. He's sitting down here, and we're looking to this boundary because we want to get the ball and get out of bounds, obviously, because we're in 2-minute drill, and we want to be able to hit everything that we can to get out of bounds without using timeouts. We've made a Roger call here because it looks like Jared is working right. And I think these guys do a great job of taking care of the interior, because in this case scenario, they're running their base cover one man, but these guys right here are sitting in zone because they're responsible to the F back of whatever side he shows to. They'll take him either way he goes, and the other one's free. And Gunner has a good situation right here for himself, but something that he's going to have to learn is his pocket presence, is to be able to step up when he sees this right here off the edge. And what I've said about Monroe Freeling, that I really like this kid at left tackle. I think he created some consistency once he went into the game versus Ernest Green being in the game, which blew my mind that Ernest Green, to me, went downhill this year. But Monroe Freeling has always struggled with his kick slide. His kick slide is not fast enough, and that's something he's going to have to get better at technique-wise, because by the time he really gets into a full kick slide, his defensive end is already on him, and now he can't even get hands-on, and now he's reaching. That guy's run the hoop so well right there and done a great job on him. I really wish ETN, I know in this case scenario, you can help your tackle right here. And I don't know if the F-back coach, if Josh Crawford, I coached a Josh Cochran. I tell you, man, when you coach a lot of kids, all those names run together. But, with what Josh Crawford does with them is like, why not chip right there, ETN? Help you tackle out and chip him a little bit. But still, nonetheless, Gunner takes it, and he's got to be able to step up into the pocket and deliver the throw, because I think where he's wanting to throw this ball to is to the intermediate out, because you can already see Dominic Lovett on his out right there hitch. He don't want to go there. His eyes are going to Dylan Bell. So you can tell he's developed some positive vibes with Dylan Bell. But like I said, I'm just looking at that poor technique. We take a knee right there and going at half 6-3. I think it completely changes the dynamics of what we come out and do in the second half. And, like I said, Monroe not getting a good kick slide, Gunner not having pocket presence to step up and maybe avoid that right there and deliver a throw. I don't know if he gets it off or not, but still, nonetheless, not a good situation for him. Causes the fumble. And, one poor person right there in the pass pro screws it up for everybody else and causes a disaster to take place. Okay, in this play of ace, just regular ace, I would call this actually dart out of ace, because you bring a receiver over to the two receiver side to the wide side of the field and bring your tight end over to the left side of the field. It's really just swapping your H and your Z. But we're going to run basically what I call Maryland in my 2-minute offense, where you have basically double outs, especially with teams that either high safety covering in two, or you have a linebacker that's got to take an inside leverage guy. So we're going to end up getting double outs here off all of this. But, Notre Dame here does a good job. They call a cover 2 to this because of, I guess, just because they feel like they can run that and sit on these outside boundaries. It's a good defensive call to what we have here, because these out routes are going to be covered by these corners sitting here. That's why you can see this guy communicating to his corner when this guy makes the outcut. Hey, you got a guy coming to you right here. So Gunner, being the level head that he is, realizes that they're in a cover 2 look to this, so they're playing zone, and so he sees something he doesn't like, because he wants to quick hit this, because he's thinking man. If they're man and man on, then typically your number 2 receivers are what you're going to have, because either you're going to have a high safety coming down to try to take this, or you're going to have him on inside leverage and you can throw it to the outside shoulder. But he notices this safety is not really coming down to take him. He's bailing out with butt to sideline. Quarterback sees that, and he realizes he's got a bad play call into what they're doing here. So that's why he immediately takes off and does a good job of getting north and south on his run. Okay. I like this play call right here, and this is something we haven't done a lot of. By bringing Lucky over now to this and looking like we're going to run rabbit on this side, you pull this linebacker because now Notre Dame all of a sudden has gone more cover two in some of these ace formations. I don't know if it's because of the formation or if the coach is just feeling froggy because he likes to go cover one so much. But what you're going to do here is in most times when you stress the field, you always want to met this guy if he's high, like back here, you want to stress him the most because he's got so much space to cover to come up and make a tackle. You typically always want to try to take care of anything that's forcing outside the numbers, and you want to take care of your apex defender that's here. So what we're going to do is invite this guy upfield. That's why you see Trust kind of let him go. And what's going to happen is he's going to come down inside and end up blocking the Mike linebacker here. And what they do is they trade off of this because this outside linebacker who's apexed off the throw is going to end up getting blocked here. Now, he should be running him to see what happens. If he bails hard, then he's going to push him as long as he can and then block him eventually. But if he's sitting, he's got to go get him right now wherever he's at. And we're going to basically say, hey, we want you to come up and make the tackle. So it's really just, like I said, an extension of the run game. And the reason why Jurasic can block him with a throw here is because obviously ETN is catching this out of the backfield. So you can see how Kaiser's been removed, showing the leopard screen. The mic's still sitting in the middle of the field. You can see how Truss has just sort of let him go and slipped him. Jurasic is coming to the mic. And let's see how Truss does out there on this guy right here. Doesn't do a bad job. In fact, he bulldogs him. And that's what, this is the stuff that bothers me from a referee standpoint. Referees don't get the fact that this is perfectly legal. When you punish a guy like this right here and you get him off balance, you freaking bulldog his ass right there. That way his ass isn't getting up, and that is perfectly legal in a game. But these guys like this, sometimes, there's some referees that don't understand how physically tough this legal play here is. And that's something that drives me nuts if you get an unsportsmanlike, because they'll get a hold for this or they'll get a personal foul for this. That's football, guys. That is basically snot bubbling his ass and making him like it. Good job, 73. I can't believe I'm actually complimenting you there. But there's the safety. You can see here we've got a miss block by Arian Smith. And there's your other linebacker that Jurasic was blocking. I believe, no, Jurasic was blocking him, but you can still see he's chasing him as well. This is actually defensive tackle. But, it's not a bad job by this end getting out there. But you can see, miss block, didn't stay on block right there, and safety coming up. And ETN just taking way too much time on those cuts, man. This is a play that gets breaking down because of the front and their screw up in the pass probe. We end up going with 5 men in the rotation. I think there's a check with me at the line of scrimmage, and I think what they're trying to do is isolate Cash Jones out here. He ends up getting picked up by the number 3. This guy's got number 2. This guy's got number 1. This guy's got number 2. This guy's got number 1. And he's going to drift to the field in cover 1 here. And you leave your Mike sitting looking at your cornerback on a spy right here. So, when he actually gets out in this, I think if he has time, he's going to try to run the out route. I think that's where they're wanting to go with the football, because we get pressure up front. It flushes Gunner way too quick because that guy comes off the edge, and we're pass proing up front. We've made a Roger Cottle that side, and because the F-back is free, there's nobody to take that blitzing guy right here. So we got 5 guys blocking 3. So I know without a doubt, if I go back and I look at it, I really do think we have a screw up front. I can sit here and critique this all day, but I see, when Jared snaps the football, he is looking straight ahead in front of him. So I'm assuming they've called a mic check to the right, because I see Dylan Fairchild backing up and looking with his hat inside too. What I don't understand is why we're not fanning this with the tackle and the guard. The guard should have him, the tackle should have him, and then these 3 are taking care of these 3, the mic being right here. But based off the gap, I can't see this from the Skycam view. I'm having to look at it from the field. But based off where the hash is at, this mic is to the left of this. So they've actually got a Louis call here, it looks like. But I see Jared blocking right. So I don't understand this right here. I don't understand if this is just myself not seeing what he sees. And they've made a mic check because of this guy instead of this guy, which doesn't make sense to me. I would be working to the left here. And so you have 3 to block these 3 on this side. They end up bringing 2, and you don't have this free guy coming off the edge. And then you got Tate and you got Ernest Green up top to take care of whatever shows in those gaps to the top. So, hopefully with an offensive line coach, this is where I would be asking my old buddy that I used to coach with, Barry Hall, like, did we screw up here in the mic check, or did we not swamp technique this or move out and slide out to get that guy that comes off the edge here, because he has to be held accountable here. But I think Gunner does a great job of avoiding seeing where this pressure is coming from, wheeling out. They work on this in practice and getting what he can. I know this is the end of the game, and it's just a head scratcher to me. They're playing wide field coverage, where basically you're going to have two cloud corners sitting here to take care of anything in the flat force defending, and you've got three guys across of the top, so they're going to have their thirds. So, right now we're trying to get down the field and score. So what happens is you have a 4 down lineman look, because they're going to eventually bring this guy, and he's just sitting in the middle of the field. It's typically where you want to attack is in these holes right here. So, I would be running things like this and trying to run him off to hit honey holes here. But, that also divides with pass pro. That's something that we run a lot of, but I don't understand why we don't attack in these holes right here. We end up throwing the fast screen up top, which, it comes down to the fact, even if Delp does make this block, I mean, these guys are playing so loose right now, they can see this immediately. This motion doesn't fool anybody. And you got defensive linemen getting to the football. Even if he makes this block, this is still dead. It's almost crazy to me. I know hindsight of this, I'd say, why not throw the ball to the field? I've always been a field guy, and I know that can be a tendency sometimes, but when you're in hurry up, they're not thinking about that. These guys are thinking about getting to the football. You go block. It's man on man. I take care of you. Athlete catches the ball in space, splits it, and you're making this guy come up and make the tackle here. And, like I said, I can sit here all day long and, talk about the fact of what we should have, could have, would have done. We're down 23-10. We're just trying to move the football in a positive direction. But obviously we're going backwards right here, throwing this fast screen again. Never ran the Fox off of the fast screen. I don't understand why, but it was dead from the beginning, because even though his guy makes the tackle, look at all that pursuit that was behind him. I mean, that was dead from the beginning. I can sit here and talk about the do's and the don'ts of what you want, but our front, to me, watching film, just got whooped when it came to 4 and 5 man pressures. I mean, right here they only bring 4 man pressure, and this little Samoan dude right here absolutely just makes Truss look like crap. They've got a Louis call here, so you got these 3 that are working here, which puts Ratledge on an island and Truss on an island to take care of these 2. And there's not even an X stunt here or anything, and Truss just gets beat off the edge. But offensively, out of this ace set, even though they're motioning to trips, I call this an ace formation still, because they start off in 2x2, is that you're going to get him to become the safety outlet off of this. So you're going to get the post. He should be on the drag. You're going to get ETN coming across the formation that's going to be on the flat. And you should have him working down inside, and he's going to be the intermediate guy right here. And of course, can see what happens off of this. We end up throwing it to ETN in the flat off this motion. But this is something I wish we would do right here. So it is getting a vertical. So he's running a comeback. So there's no intermediate. Urosic is the intermediate, which, I don't like that, because that allows them to really push up to him and stay back in him. All right, you should have 3 levels when you do this. If you're going to run the comeback and he's on the drag and he's your flat guy, it would be nice to have someone that's sitting, right here on the inside to it, to occupy these 2 to make this a little bit easier. But, like I said, you can do so many different things with this. But, this is the one we throw to ETN for a short gain. Now, what I would love to be able to do out of this is, and I don't understand why we don't do this, all right? We never think about this safety guy. I don't know why we don't have some kind of throwback screen to this right here, because this is where you take care of teams that are really aggressive trying to get to the football. Because if you look at this right here, this is play action, so all your linemen are in. So they're blocking. He's lost his guy. But if you do this the right way, you let them slip, let these guys pursue like they've been doing all game, and now you slip these guys out here, you turn and put your foot in the ground, and you throw it back over here, and now you've got a screen down this sideline over here. It's easy for me to sit here and check that. I'm sure he's probably got something like that in his repertoire, but I have yet to see something like that be done. This guy's a lost cause. Just because he's sitting over here, you've got him on rollout, which I'm perfectly fine with, but still, it's just something that's lost in space, because their over aggressiveness, you got to figure out ways to to compromise with that, and that could be something that you could do. But again, just a small minimal gain on play action rollout. Sometimes you got to throw your ball up to the athlete and let them make plays. This to me, 2nd and 10. We're down 20-3. There's nothing really specific here. This is just us trying to keep a drive alive. And, I like the play call. You're going to push inside and you're going to set down. Push inside to run the dig. We're going to follow off that to a choice option. You're going to get an inside hitch right here that's going to sit down to hold. And what you're basically doing is trying to run interference so that you can get the slot fade off of this. And they do a good job of picking this up. You've got a hell of a safety sitting right here that gets over the top of this. But sometimes you just got to trust your receiver to go make a play. And we do this right here. We pick up the front very well. I like what ETN does off of this too. If you look at it, it looks like a Louis call because we've got man-man. So that means mono-e-mono. There's the Mike backer. There's your F-back. Watch him get up in there, set up in there, and bam, take it on. I like what I see here. We got a good pocket for Gunner to throw. And both the lowers are covered. And honestly, everything's covered pretty well. I mean, Lovett is covered up like a glove right here. Makes a good catch. This is basically like throwing a back shoulder play. Throw it before the safety gets there and throw it to where this guy who's covering you doesn't know it's coming. And Dominic goes up and makes a great play right there. This was something I said that we needed to do more often as well. We end up motioning back across to, this would be Lucy Ace. The reason why I call it Lucy is because you do actually have somebody off tackle here. So this is definitely still a run situation. We're going to show split zone action, play action off of this. So you're going to get an inside under Sam over Mike crosser. So that means these guys, because he's coming across for play action, you really only have 3 in the formation. So you're going to end up getting a dig that comes back across, and you're going to get Arian who comes out here. He's going to end up running the vertical to hold the safety in the corner to this side. And what you're hoping is that this dig is pulled by the safety to allow this crosser to come back up underneath, and we get what we want right here. And as you remember, this is the boink off of Dylan Bell. So we got the slide left protection because they know they got the split action coming back across. I think we do a great job, and this is honestly probably one of our better play action pass pros. The only thing is Delt, once he gets hands on, he kind of loses his guy, but he holds him up for that 4-second window so that Gunner has the chance. He's a little happy feet back here, but he gets a chance to set those feet and show that arm off right here. And guys, this is a great throw. This should be a catch, and he's probably going to catch him. That's a good safety right there chasing him. But still, even if he catches the football, he's got a chance in stride athletically to get down the sideline and run away from him. I don't know what Dylan Bell's funk was. I don't know what our receiver's funk was. Honestly, it doesn't make sense to me. I know they've caught these balls. I've seen Dylan Bell catch these balls. I know he can catch, but unfortunately, when it came time and we needed a catch, it just didn't happen, and it's just pitiful. So Mike hears my call and wants to run a throwback off of this, but it's not the same thing. It's going to be a tight end delay. So we got Ace Lucy with motion here off the trips Lucy look to start with. And, I'm sitting there looking at a good play call here, but I'm telling you, man, this guy right here played outside his mind the entire game. I didn't get a chance to watch him, but I really didn't see anything on film when I broke him down against Indiana and USC that really just made me go, you know what, this guy's going to be the guy that really makes it different up front for Notre Dame's defense with, the Riley Mills guy going down. They're going to bring a 5-man pressure, and all you're going to get here is just clear out. He obviously is just a clear out guy. He's going to finish over here. He's a clear out guy. They're going to look like they're setting off of this. He's going to have somebody moving over here to look like we're going to kind of roll out. And then it's just a throwback here to Delp off of this motion. But, Gunner's got to sell this a little bit more. I don't know from coaching standpoint why he's not pushing him a little bit more, maybe almost on a true rollout, like I said a while ago, since you do have this and you do have this coming here, and now put your foot in the ground, which makes him pursue more, and he sits there and blocks, lets him go, slides out, and then you've got your lineman coming out here. To me, this just doesn't give enough time for development, if you ask me. Because, he hasn't even got into his pass set to even contact that defensive end. He is just now hitting him, and now Gunner's already pulling off of this, ready to throw to Delp. on this. And that's the reason why 44 reads this. A good DN reads this and comes off of this. Even though these guys are offset, this guy's realizing, hey, he's pulling off, throwing to the guy I'm sitting here just engaged with. It's a really easy pitch and catch. You can see if he pursues what kind of play we've got here. He's probably the one getting to him. But unfortunately, like I said, 44 played outside of his mind. Great job by him. Good job by recognition and coming up and causing it to slow down and stutter. And they'll get the play. So this is the first run play out of ace formation, and we do it out of ace wide stack. And this is QB counter tray, but to me, this is not necessarily the best way to run it, honestly, is where you're just running zone right look. But yet, if linebackers are doing their job because they got stacked with a safety and their nickel over the top, because you can see the free safety still in the middle of the field. So they still got 6 in the box, 2 for 2, 2 for 2. That's dead with a free safety sitting in the middle. Becomes an extra alley player basically off the run fit. That's the beauty of having this cover one look like this, is that there's no read out of this. See, this is the difference in +1 versus, to me, just having a design QB run play. Because what we're going to do here is block down with our center guard tackle. Tate's going to pull and kick 44 out, the old Samoan out there. And Ernest Green should be wrapping and fitting inside that kick out block to get to this guy. Kaiser runs down in here and gets caught up in the mess because of the pull, and ends up filtering over the top of it to be extra help to this, and it ends up not becoming a great run here. But, something that I would love to do out of this is, I don't know why we don't run stretch QB power and read this, where we actually read this guy on the line of scrimmage. We're going to pull to influence, and we're going to see what he does. So you get stretch action, which means the F-back is going to come across in this design instead of downhill like this, and Gunner's going to catch, and he's going to step. He's going to ride with one step. If he steps out wide to take the stretch, now you pull, so that takes him out of the gate. It probably even pulls him a little bit in that process, because he's coming downhill to run fit anyway. And if he decides, oh my God, there's stretch, he's going to push out that direction, and all of a sudden now you're taking people out of the play. But what's also nice about this is that if you get guard, pull, tackle to wrap, and you're reading this across the face on stretch action this way, you should be blocking, going inside the block, 2 for 2. You're going to make him come downhill. But if he squeezes this down, you hand this ball off and let him get wide and make him make one-on-one with him, and you keep these two occupied with the blocks. That way you've got to stress the defense in 2 different places, and that's the reason why we don't see this as much, because there's no stress here. All this is basically, there's no design right here that makes me think that they're going to give it on zone right here. The zone coming across, there's not a very good fake. You don't look like you're getting the football because you're so ready to run. Now, what you're going to see here is you're going to see Tate take on the end, who does a good job of squeezing the down because he gets a down block in front of him. Ernest Green, I don't know, hasn't run very much gap scheme this year. But just rule of thumb, when you kick out with your guard and flathead him, the tackle should fit up inside of that to take whatever first thing that shows in this gap, and your quarterback should be following the tackle is what he should do. But you can see here, look how slow Ernest Green getting across, just dum, and he ends up going outside of it because that's a kick out. You don't go outside of a kick out tackle. You go inside. So he should be inside to this, and Gunner should be following him, trying to squeeze that. But because now there's a kick out, now what you've done, and now he's gone outside of that, now you keep 44 in the play with this as well, and now no linebacker has gotten touched, okay? All he's doing is helping seal off the Tate's block on the kick out, and now you bring the guy that you should be kicking out and going up inside of is now still part of the play, and now you've got nobody on linebackers. Everybody's chasing from the linebacker level, and Gunner does a good job of getting what he can, but still just not a very good gap scheme run. It's amazing what happens when we communicate in pass pro. We got a Louis call here, so that means you're going to have these 3 working to these, to these 2 and this 1. You got Tate is going to take right here and help with the center, and your tackle is going to step out here. Monroe Freeland does a great job on the Samoan right here. I think he's Samoan. I'm not sure where he's at, but obviously he kicked our ass all night long, so I'm going to call him the Raging Samoan because he just looks like a badass. But anyhow, we're in straight ace right here. I'm really worried that we almost had we were covered up. If he's on the line of scrimmage, he's got to declare off the line of scrimmage, which I think that's what we've got right here. But you can definitely see the difference in these 2 in this position. But what you're going to get here is you're going to get wide double outs, Okay. And this is, again, a good way to beat cover two. He's a man on right here, but because he's to the boundary, he's using the boundary sideline as extra defense. So that's why you see him off. Plus, he's on a Y receiver. And this is something that we can do a good job. He stems his outside shoulder, puts his foot in the ground, and is on the slant. Now, if he runs with a slant and he's in his hip pocket, then what you're hoping for is the next guy that's going to come open, which is Dominic on the dig coming across. They do a good job of covering it up. He's definitely your first read. He's your second read. And if he gets rolled out either way, probably the outside guys will be the fit off of that. But he's trying to hit these inside guys here to see what we can do. So you can see as it pushes off, he's so far off and he stems. See where his right foot heavy right here? So this is a good recognition by your quarterback. Good job by our front right here, picking up their four-man pressure. And, he's watching Gunner to make sure he's not running with the football. And Gunner delivers a strike right to Oscar Delp for a good positive gain right here. This is something you want to see out of forward more often. They're going to bring a cat blitz off the edge right here, so you're going to get this pressure coming. Your linebacker is going to replace, which is your rover. You're still going to have a two-high safety look, and they're still going to be in man, but they're going to end up bringing a six-man pressure from the boundary, bringing a little play here from what Georgia does. Fortunately, we do look to the wide side of the field, so we're going to get a push outside. And what I like out of this, when you get the dig coming across and having the opportunity to see what we see here pushing, he sits down on a choice route. I think right here we're going to get an out route by Humphreys, and you should be getting a push vertical here out of Dominic. And what you're looking at doing is getting everybody vertical so that Cash Jones out of this is something I really wanted to see, is that he steps up off edge, realizes that they've made a Louis call, so you got 2 for 2 here. He realized everything's blocked. He should be out here on his out route pretty quickly, and this ball should have just been thrown quicker. But it looks like Cash, he's just indecisive on whether he should stay or whether he should go. So he's looking inside because he's looking to see, what did I leave? But his eyes should be, his head and shoulders should be ripped around the other way right now. So now he's just now getting adjusted. Gunner needs to throw the football, and he has to readjust because he hasn't got his head around yet. And now he throws it just a couple of seconds later. And what you're going to notice is that, when this ball is thrown, Anthony Evans should be turning to block him. Dominic should be blocking his guy. And what I see here is a flying safety or corner coming up here from where Dominic, as you can see here in just a second, who comes into the screen, has missed and not even tried to get hands on this guy. This pursuit coming here, I get this. This is tough, but Anthony Evans hasn't even tried to block this guy. Dominic hasn't tried to block this guy, and this guy wants it more than these two do, is the way I look at it, and that's something that bothers me. Now, I can't say for certain because I don't have the behind the camera view, but I have questioned his motivation the entire year. Sometimes I feel like he was loafing in routes. We already know that he doesn't block in space very well, and that's why he don't see the field. But it just goes to show when something gets caught that I don't know how much it's really devoted to say, hey, I want to block somebody really hard to try to help my guy get a first down here when it's 3rd and 8 and we're fighting for our lives trying to get back in this ball game, and we can't do anything about it. But that's got to get better. Whoever's out there has got to be better doing their job to block their guys when we get a running back catching the ball out of the backfield. This is a beautiful play call design by Coach Bobo. You're going to get the post off of this because he's got to clear your corner. They're in man. He's your safety outlet off the jet action. He's going to look like he's blocking off of this and delay into the flat behind this because he's your safety outlet. If off play action, if Cash was covered off of this, if this Mike backer should have realized he should have ran with him, because cover one beater, this is definitely one to beat right here. He's going to push on a straight vertical. And you've got a really good play action concept. Caught them finally in a cover one that they couldn't get out of because you end up, the mic on the F-back was a big deal. And this was what I said that we needed to do to exploit them and to help Gunner have some, positive options, was to throw to our F-backs out of the backfield. I know Cash Jones does a great job of this. I know that Trevor Etienne, Nate Frazier could do this too. But like I said, beautiful play call design off this play action. Mike doesn't go with the F-back, and we got a tutty and Gunner Stockton's first touchdown in a playoff game. Only the second run out of ace formation. I call this Ace Ricky just because you've got, instead of a wide guy to the wide side of the field, you actually have an H or a Y sitting there off tackle. So this is still a rundown situation. To me, when you have an F back that is play side, this gives concepts of thinking, okay, we've got zone left coming here, and this is what the front does. And this is something I'm noticing a lot more teams do this. I don't think this is just to Georgia. I think it's to teams to help offset so that you can have your zone guys that kind of stay ready for the backside cut. And what you get here is you end up getting linemen that actually go oppo to the call. So what they'll do is they're thinking, all right, we've got the zone coming this way. So what they'll do is they'll wrap away from the call. Like if it's coming this way, they'll wrap away from the call and then fit right back over the top of it. I just see a lot more teams doing that concept now. But this is really Jared Wilson and Dylan Fairchild's fault, because what you get here is you'll notice that this guy is going to, because of the way this is going, they should be stepping left, posting, stepping left up to him. But what happens is this guy ends up, because what we're going to actually run out of this is not zone right. We're going to come down here and get the ball because we're running Zulu out of this. We're actually going zone left. So when they step, what happens, he steps away from the way they're stepping. And it screws Jared up, because what it should do is it ends up passing it to this guard who should be coming here. And, he ends up wheeling back around. So what happens, Dylan Fairchild doesn't get hands-on and engage him. Jared lets him go because he's across his face, and Dylan doesn't pick him up, and he stretches between the center and the guard right here and causes stress right out of the gate. So it takes forever to get the ball out of the mesh and turn it around anyway. But see that hat already showing right there? He is stressed between Dylan Fairchild and Jared Wilson. And now Jared's trying to come back and take care of the slack here, but he's already having to make a cut in the backfield off of this. Where he should be going on this play right here is he should be going right here. This is where he should be going. And if they take him and have got him sealed correctly, that's where it should go. But now, because he's got somebody in his face, our running back panics, and he actually goes the way he shouldn't be going, because we're all blocking zone left. But because of this one guy stressing off of this, it makes him go to the right, and he's dead. There's really nothing to see here, but this is the last play from scrimmage where we get sacked. And this is just showing you Monroe Freeling's kick slide. The one thing that as a tackle, I know that getting your kick slide and gaining depth helps, because especially the guys that want to try to run the hoop. And what you've got to get used to is those who try to turn it into a bull rush versus those trying to run the hoop to get around you. And that comes from watching film. That comes from understanding who you're going to be lined up against. Monroe was lined up against him a lot in stand-up. That's the Viper technique here. And then you've got your wide five here that you can tell sometimes they will do this. They'll set up really wide to try to get back inside of you on this. So when you kick slide and you get your depth, you've got to be ready on your inside foot heavy to step back up inside and cave his ass back down in here if he does decide to inside stunt you. If he is trying to run that hoop, you're definitely getting that kick slide back there is going to help. And you can see that Monroe, if there's one thing he's got to work on, is getting that kick slide a little bit. See how shallow his kick slide steps are? He's really got to gain depth off of this. He's not back far enough, and that really hurts him. And that's the reason why you see him lose the one that he did at the end of the half. And, of course, this one right here that's not good as well, just because he's not getting the depth, and the guy trying to run the hoop here gets to your quarterback again on the blind side.